The Bucks and the Celtics. The Celtics might need a little pep talk tonight because they dropped game one. The Bucks dominated that one 101-89. Tonight, Celtics are favorite again. They're at home. 5-point favorite. Total is 215.5. And Josh, you are all over the Celtics tonight.
Yeah, I think, it's bounce back spot for Boston. I think you get a better effort, a tidier effort, I think is probably the best way to put it. You look at that game one, they were pretty sloppy. I think it's fair to say, whether it was the extended time off, whether it's the adjustment of having to play, a more capable team, if you will, in the Bucks or in a more complete team. But that adjustment was expected to a certain extent. Maybe, it got away from them in that second half a little bit. But you look at some of the individual metrics and box score analysis of this game, and Boston didn't necessarily perform terribly. Just the one thing that stands out, and that's the fact that they had 19 turnovers that led to 27 Milwaukee points, and they were minus 21 in points off of turnovers in a game they lost by 12. And I think that tells the entire story where a lot of those turnovers were live turnovers, and that allowed Milwaukee to play in transition. And when they did that, it's not surprising that when you have someone like Giannis, who's the most efficient player in transition offense, that they took full advantage of that. So that's probably going to be the key area for Boston, is take care of the basketball better, execute your offensive sets better, and as a result, you'll also play better defense. Because when it came to half-court sets, these teams were almost identical, and there really wasn't much to split them at all. So I expect that to be the one point of emphasis, I think, for Ime Udoka to tidy up, is just be better with the basketball. Don't allow Milwaukee to play in transition. Force them into half-court sets. And, they'll get enough stops that they themselves are then able to play in transition down the other end of the floor as well. Historically, the Bucks, when they do win one on the road, they tend to split on the road as well. So it's not like they're a team that goes out and necessarily capitalizes to its full extent, I think, in these situations. And you look at them this season in the games that they lost, they don't cover the spread when they lose. So they do tend to lose by margin. I think that if Boston are able to play from in front for the majority and down the stretch of this game, they might be able to put some separation, I think, in the clutch moments of this one. So, yeah, I think Boston tie this series up. I think it goes back to Milwaukee at one apiece. And I still think after game four, we're probably going to be looking at a tied series as well at two apiece. Ultimately, these teams pretty evenly matched for the most part. I don't think that any one of these teams is necessarily going to run away with this one.
Yeah, a crazy stat. The Bucks are 0-32 against the spread when they don't win. So if they're not winning, they don't cover at all, which is absolutely wild.
Yeah.
So Chris, we're going to try this here. See if your construction workers can hold off for about 30 seconds. What do you think the key is for Boston tonight in order to, maybe get out to a fast start?
Yeah, no, and the workers have held off the entire time Josh talked, so that figures. So we'll see what happens here. But just a quick point about the Bucks. The thing about the Bucks that's really tough is that they're so big. You got Brook Lopez, you got Giannis, Bobby Portis played fantastic defense in that first game. It just looked like a championship defense and the kind of defense that we expected from them earlier in the season. But I like a lot of what Josh is saying too. I mean, yeah, what the Celtics did last game is they had to start shooting threes. I mean, they shot 50 threes in that game. 55% of their shots were three-pointers. That doesn't happen for the Celtics. Only 20 points in the paint. Really impressive defense by the Bucks. But I would expect that the Celtics are going to come out of this one and they're going to, try to turn it up from the very start. This is a Celtics team that since the All-Star break, there's only one instance where they've had a back-to-back loss. And that was a tough spot. They faced the Raptors in overtime, and then they faced the Heat in their next game. That's the only reason why they lost twice. I expect the Celtics to be a lot more buttoned up tonight. This is going to be a battle throughout the series. I mean, I have the Bucks in 7, but really this could go either way. And let's see if I missed any of my points here as I'm discombobulated with all this construction work. And it just wasn't a ton of transition basketball for the Celtics either. If they start with the kind of aggression and with the kind of confidence that we've seen from this team from the beginning, attacking the rim and spreading out the ball a lot better, I think we're going to see a different version of them, at least early in the game. 5 points is a lot to take the Celtics, so I don't like that, but I'll start with the first quarter minus 1.5. I think, TD Garland's going to be going crazy. I like some of the adjustments that I've seen from Udoka in the past. So I expect him to come out a lot more crisp.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics really just need their non-stars, so to say, to hit some shots from deep or even just outside. I mean, Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum were great shooting, but Peyton Pritchard was 1 for 6 from 3. Marcus Smart wasn't great from 3. So that'll open up the paint a lot if some of those other players can start getting going from outside. And I think that'll definitely bode well for the Celtics tonight. Josh taking the full game, Celtics -5, and Chris is playing the first quarter, Celtics -1.5.